Hello and welcome to Africa Weekly. Teaching and learning suffered at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic across Africa. As the continent stages a gradual recovery from the impact of the pandemic, utilization of technology has become imperative. How has this been achieved? Nigeria is 61. Strides and challenges. These will engage focus in this edition of the program. My name is Justin Benwunye and I welcome you to Africa Weekly. Now, many African countries are still struggling to evolve new technologies to keep education going at the required pace in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the continent and the rest of the developing world will require a helping hand in achieving this. So how can the world powers intervene?
Education was one of the sectors most hit by the coronavirus pandemic. Schools had to shut down while children remained at home for a lengthy period of time. Schools that could afford e-learning went on to adopt the system to keep their students engaged during the pandemic. But students whose schools do not have the resources were disadvantaged. What the third plenary of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly came up with is how to achieve quality education in the post-COVID-19 era using latest technology. African leaders at the summit welcome plans to digitalize education using modern technologies. Realizing it in developing world, they say, may be tasking, but optimistic it is achievable.
Disruption to the education systems, particularly in developing countries, was in part due to inadequate information, communication, and technology, ICT facilities.
A further voluntary reallocation of new SDRs to countries that need them most will help create the physical space required for a faster and more equitable recovery.
Interdependent and globalized world, cooperation, strategic collaboration, and good governance are a must.
The 76th session examined girls' education and women empowerment in the era of digital technologies, bearing in mind the long-term implication of an unequal access to education during COVID-19, opportunities and challenges of remote learning, and an overview of global access to the digital technologies, resources, and disparities.
Joining us is Professor Elijah Oluwasegun Baeri. He is the President and Founder, Center for Research and Universal Education. Professor, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
I'm happy to be with you. Thank you, Phil.
All right, briefly, can you give us your perspective on the impact of COVID-19 on education in Nigeria and Africa?
This is a global phenomenon, not just Africa, but what we can do with the IQ. And I crave the indulgence, there should be PPP, public-private partnership, where I've not said they should privatize education, but rather where people can, government alone cannot do it, where this thing will be subsidized, the technology. Like I give example of Edo State, that one limited to just, what do you call it now, secondary school education and university lecturer. I wanted to go run the 36 states, federal FCT inclusive, that every member, the minister of FCT should budget for technical devices. Average people who can read, who cannot read, they are using, it's a globalization, they are using it. So they have it. But there was a mandate of arcade and period before the misnomer or the norma that they should not come to the class with what? Handset and what? And what? Computer. Now, it suffices us to know it's of great necessity now because of the pandemic. Thank you.
From what you just said, in public schools and universities, is it possible to achieve online education completely?
Why not? We learn in adult education without seeing a theoretical framework. And that there's what we call distant learning, online learning. Before the advent of email and all this, may I let you know we are doing it. And now to be globalized, we have to be using those technology. And so to come back to your question is that there is already a tertiary education, Nigeria, National University of what? National Open University, Nigeria. That's operating right from their inception to now. We are affiliated. My Center for Research and Investment is affiliated. So everything about them is virtual, it's digital. So this thing didn't affect them. The lecturer will stay in their house. They already had a handout. Handout to 2023. Handout to 2023, they only have it. Every lecturer prepare your handout. They don't see their student. In the study center, you can be here in this room and be speaking. And so why don't the whole Nigeria educational system embark to it? So it's already in existence, the system is in existence, and so we can do it if we put our mind to it.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having you. Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us on this particular issue. Thank you for coming. Well, next we are now going to look at global tidbits, and the program continues in a moment. Nigeria is 61. How has the country fared in the face of doubting challenges?
With a population of over 200 million people, Nigeria is the third most diverse country in terms of ethnic and socio-cultural groupings after the Republic of Chad and Cameroon. Despite Nigeria's religious, ethnic and socio-cultural diversity, its people have been coexisting peacefully with equal opportunities of fundamental rights to reside in any part of the geopolitical zones of the country.
We don't have anything to say rather than thank you.
We are brothers and sisters, and we are behaving like the same father, the same mother.
If you are doing Salah, I also are doing Salah. If I'm doing Christmas, you also are doing Christmas. We do it together with happiness.
Religious and community leaders therefore emphasize the need to sustain the existing bond to maintain social cohesion and unity of the country.
Muslim Islam teaches sit with anybody, do the better, do the right things, and as well as what is Christianity teach any one of.
We should love ourselves, live as one, and I believe as we'll keep living together and loving each other, we will never have any problem or have any issue in our country.
We should be thinking as a Nigeria, not as, as a religious person or, saying maybe cultural background.
They also called on the media to de-emphasize the use of ethnic differences and focus on factors that will lead to strengthening the country's unity in diversity.
I would want to use this occasion as Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here in Japan to extend my greetings to His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, all the good people, 200 million people of Nigeria, and in particular to the numerous Nigerians that are residing here in Japan doing one legitimate thing or another.
Now we bring you an excerpt from President Muhammadu Buhari's independence broadcast to Nigerians on the occasion of Nigeria's 61st independence.
Fellow Nigerians, the first 18 months have been some of the most difficult periods in the history of Nigeria. Since the Civil War, I doubt whether we have seen a period of more heightened challenges than what we have witnessed in this period. Our original priorities for 2020 were to continue stabilizing our economy following the deep recession while restoring peace in areas confronted with security challenges. But the COVID-19 pandemic and its devastating impact on all nations meant we needed to shift gears and re-strategize. Nigerians came together as one to fight against COVID-19. It is this attitude, and by the special grace of God, we continue to survive the pandemic as a nation and indeed provide leadership and example at regional and international levels. Nigeria is for all of us. Its unity is not negotiable, and its ultimate success can only be achieved if we all come together with a common goal of having peace and prosperity for our nation. We shall continue to work on dialogue-based solutions to address legitimate grievances, but we remain ready to take decisive actions against secessionist agitators and their sponsors who threaten our national security. The recent arrests of Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Adeyemo and the ongoing investigations being conducted have revealed certain high-profile financiers behind these individuals. We are vigorously pursuing these financiers, including one identified as a serving member of the National Assembly. Fellow Nigerians, our unrelenting effort at resolving an almost 2 decades toll on the management of our petroleum resources and ensuring equitable consideration to our host communities has resulted in the enactment of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. This act not only overhauls the institutional, regulatory, and fiscal framework of the petroleum industry, but also reduces the previous opacity associated with this sector. As we embrace the digital economy in Nigeria, we are fully aware of the prospects and the perils. Our policies have been developed to enable Nigerians to take advantage of the prospects and avoid the perils of digital technologies. Social media is a very useful platform that has enabled millions of Nigerians to connect with loved ones, promote their businesses, socialize, and access news and other information. However, recent events have shown that the platform is not just an innocuous platform for information dissemination. Rather, some users have misused the platform to organize, coordinate, and execute criminal activities, propagate fake news, and promote ethnic and religious sentiments. To address these negative trends, the federal government of Nigeria suspended the operation of Twitter in Nigeria on June 5, 2021, to allow the government to put measures in place to address these challenges. Following the suspension of Twitter operations, Twitter Incorporated reached out to the federal government of Nigeria to resolve the impasse. Subsequently, I constituted a presidential committee to engage Twitter to explore the possibility of resolving the issue. The committee, along with its technical team, has engaged with Twitter and have addressed a number of key issues. These are: A, national security and cohesion. B, registration, physical presence and representation. C, fair taxation. D, dispute resolution. And E, local content. Following the extensive engagements, the issues are being addressed, and I have directed that the suspension be lifted, but only if the conditions are met to allow our citizens continue to use the platform for business and positive engagements.
And Professor Baeri is still with us to share his insight into Nigeria's independence celebration. Well, thank you for still staying with us, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
Now, on Nigeria's 61st independence, where are we as a nation?
Yeah, it sounds political, but then I'm a bona fide Nigerian. At the age of 60, over 6 decades, I came to this world. And I'm a Nigerian. I'm proud to be a Nigerian till tomorrow. I am proud. I'm very positive. I want us to be positive. I want Nigeria to be positive, the youth to be positive. And don't always say you are going to eat your cake. I want to go to national. I want to go to election. That's where it came. I'm going to politics to become a governor, to be a vice something, to eat my national cake. What are you putting to Nigeria? Where we are now, the decadence we have in all ramifications of our system came from poverty. And then, where are we? We're in a good stage. If you didn't make mistake, we can't know a way forward. But having said this, we are to be focused. And every hand should be on deck, not always blaming the government. What quota are you putting? We're heterogeneous. The diversity help Nigeria. The diversity help Nigerians to prosper.
Okay, we are 61 now. Nigeria is 61 now.
Yeah.
Yes, having come this far, it's very obvious we have some challenges. What do you think we should be doing to overcome our challenges and achieve unity as a country?
Thank you. That's the next thing I was going to say. We should first of all believe in ourselves. That's number one. We need to believe in ourselves and believe not sectionally. Believe in a project called Nigeria. Let's begin to believe in what we have.
From your submission now, it suggests that what we need now is absolute patriotism.
Yes, patriotism and patriotism.
Yes. Professor Elijah Oluwasegun Baeri, President, Center for Research and Universal Education, we can thank you enough for having your time and sharing your thoughts with us on the program. I thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Nigeria. I love you.
All right. Now we take you to Kenya, where President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the President of African Alliance on Malaria, is urging the global community to do more in combating the disease.
Everyone, and thank you.
The End Malaria Council, EMC, is a group of global public sector and business leaders that sees malaria eradication as a critical health and development priority. President Uhuru Kenyatta calling on the global community not to lose momentum in the fight against malaria.
Let's get our partners to understand that it is in the interest of everybody that we keep our eye on the ball. The fight against malaria, the fight against TB, the fight against HIV/AIDS. These are all critical fights that will ensure that we are better placed not only to fight the current pandemic that is keeping people's attention, but also help us prepare to protect ourselves against future pandemics.
President Kenyatta, who is the current chair of the African Leaders Malaria Alliance, ALMA, emphasized the need to focus on the Alliance 4-point agenda, top among them the use of real-time data, including sharing country malaria scorecards, which is useful to support the fight against current and future pandemics.
We want to ensure that the great work of the Global Fund and all our other partners have contributed over the years in helping us fight malaria will not be reversed in the coming years.
Already 10 countries, including Kenya, Rwanda and Ghana, are sharing their scorecards through the online platform. ALMA has also engaged the young people known as Youth Army, such as the Kazi Mtaani program in Kenya that has enabled the youth to clean neighborhoods, hence reducing water and vector-borne diseases, including malaria, in their communities.
These are the social health care workers. These are the young men and women at the grassroots who are engaged, whom we need to resource.
Present in the meeting were former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete, American philanthropist Bill Gates, Dangote Group Chief Executive Officer Aliko Dangote, and World Health Organization Ambassador for Global Strategy and Health Financing Ray Chambers, who acknowledged the progress of President Kenyatta's ALMA agenda in the fight against malaria.
In Mozambique, the country is celebrating its successful switch over from analog to digital broadcasting.
We have just switched off our transmitter. This transmitter was used to send analog TV signal around the city of Maputo. This marks the end of analog television in the Mozambican capital. The signal was switched off this week. It's the start of a new phase in the digital era in the country. All analog TV signals must be switched off starting from today. As the regulator, TMT will monitor the signals to ensure that they are all switched off, as we saw here in Maputo. Together with Maputo, 2 other cities have also switched off the analog TV signal. Tete in the center and Nampula in the north of the country. Personally, I'm prepared. I have all the compatible equipment to receive the signal. I'm prepared for the new era, from the analog to the digital. When it comes to technology, we have to be prepared because we are evolving. The switch off is now a reality in Mozambique, but in some places, people still have no idea what the process entails. I didn't know it. I haven't heard of it, not even the neighborhoods where we get most of the information. Not even in the social media. The sale of decoders has seen an increase in the last couple of weeks following the decision by the Council of Ministers to switch off the analog TV signals from this week. 16 analog transmitters will be switched off until the end of this month. By the end of the year, another 14 transmitters will be switched off. The cost of digital migration in Mozambique has been estimated at $160 million.
And that's our package this week. Thank you for your time. My name is Justin Bemunyi.